I want to tell you something that people who look like me are not supposed to say out loud. I am 87 years old. I am a black man born in Alabama in 1938. I have been called things that would make your stomach turn. I have been passed over for promotions. I watched my friend Marcus get dragged out of a diner in Montgomery in 1955 for sitting in the wrong seat. I watched my cousin Raymond spend 11 years in a prison cell for a crime that a white man committed, and I am not bitter. I want you to stay with me for a few minutes because I know that sounds wrong. I know some of you are already arguing with me in your head. How can any man live through what your people lived through? I hear you. I understand you. And before this is over, I am going to tell you the truth. It might be the most important thing you ever hear from a man who has been walking this earth for 87 years. Bitterness is a prison you build with your own hands. And I spent enough of my life in I was not going to spend the rest of my life in a prison I built myself. Stay with me. Subscribe to Selma. The year was 1955. I was 17 years old, working at Henley's Hardware, sweeping floors, loading deliveries, stacking shelves in the back where customers couldn't see me. There was a man named Gerald who worked the front counter. He had been there 6 months. I had been there 2 years. One morning, Mr. Henley called Gerald into his office. When Gerald was wearing a different, he walked past me without stopping, without looking at me, and said he made me assistant manager. I stood there holding a broom. Gerald had 6 months. I had 2 years. Gerald showed up late twice a week. I went home that night and sat at the kitchen table with my father, Ezra. He was a man built from hard workers. I was waiting for him to be angry. I wanted him to be angry. I needed someone in that room. He wasn't angry. He said, "Boy, you hold on to that fire, you'll burn yourself down before you burn anything else."
I didn't understand what he meant. Not then. I thought he was asking me to surrender. I was wrong. It took me 40 years to figure out what he was actually telling me. Now I want to ask you something. Think about the thing in your life that feels most unfair. The opportunity you didn't get. The time you worked harder. Maybe you don't talk about it, but it lives in you like a stone in your chest. How long have you been carrying that stone? I carried 1963, when the man at the county office told me, and I am quoting him directly, when my home loan application was denied at 3 separate banks. I carried all of it. I carried the night in 1968 when I heard Dr. King had been shot in Memphis. I carried all of it. And the weight of it was slowly killing me from the inside. Bitterness convinces a man his energy is best spent on accounting, on keeping track of every wrong.
I spent 15 years, and I nearly missed my son Marcus learning to walk. I nearly missed my daughter Cora's first recital. I nearly missed my wife Estelle, who was standing right next to me the whole time, trying to reach me. If these words are reaching you in a way that feels rare, stay close. Subscribe. The next story implants. The shift came in the winter of 1978. I was 40 years old, working here. They gave the foreman position to a man named Dale Pruitt, who had been there 14 months. I went home that night ready to quit, ready to walk out and let them feel what it was like to lose the man who was sitting at the kitchen table when I got home. She had a letter in front of her. She slid it across to me without a word. It was from her sister in Memphis. Her nephew, 19 years old, had been arrested. Wrong place. I read that letter, and something happened inside me that I don't have a perfect word for. It was like you just stated. I thought about my father, Ezra. I thought about what he said at that kitchen 1955. He wasn't telling me to stop being angry. He was telling me that the anger was mine and I could let it consume me, chase every wrong, spend the rest of my life keeping score. My father made that choice, his father before him. They had every reason to collapse into bitterness. The world does not stop to validate your pain. It keeps moving. I don't know your story. I don't know what was taken from you or what door was closed in your face. Carrying bitterness is not loyalty to what you suffered. It is not justice. It is not strength. Bitterness is a tax, and you are paying it every single day. And the people who wronged you are not even thinking about you, and they still live rent free in your head. You are paying the tax. They are not. The people in my community who survived the worst of what this country had here, they kept it recording. They decided their energy was too precious to spend on who didn't deserve it. I am the great great grandson of people who were enslaved. My great great was where she lived. I went to college. I raised 3 children. I owned a home. I voted in every election. I watched a black man and put his hand on a Bible and become president of the United States. The struggle is not over. There are still doors that open slowly or don't open at all. Do not waste the ground we bled for. My people did not survive the years they survived so you could build something, so you could love someone completely without half your harvest. The bitterness I could have carried would have cost me my marriage. It nearly did. It would have frightened both of us. I chose her. I chose my children. I chose to build. I am not asking you to pretend the world is fair. I am not asking you to mince what's done to you. I am asking you to think about what you are spending your life on. Are you building or are you accounting? Are you moving towards something or are you standing in the road holding the ledger, waiting for me to say it? You have time. I am not sure how much. When I made the choice to stop paying the tax, I found out what was on the other side. There was a life there. Estelle, Marcus, Cora, the grandchildren I have held in these hands, the monographers. That is what is waiting for you on the other side of the bitterness. Not justice. It is going somewhere right now, whether you are paying attention or not. I am 87 years old. I just steer it. Put the ledger down, not for them, for you, for the people who love you. If these words meant something to you today, please subscribe. I have more to say.